Romania, a place known worldwide for its beautiful culture, its incredible beauty, and who am I kidding? Romania is the place where political corruption and misusing funds from the European Union is a national sport, and it's worth giving them some credit. Romania currently is the 12th largest economy in the European Union. Though, to be fair, there isn't all that much of a competition, but it's still impressive. Crime, violence, and poverty are at an all-time low, and the quality of life has increased significantly in the last 30 years. But let's take a look at how they achieved this. During the Second World War, let's just say the Romanians were kind of naughty and decided to align with the Nazis, even sending troops to support the German invasion of the Soviet Union. But once they realized the German war machine wasn't doing all that well, they instantly pulled off the Italian special and switched sides to the winners. And because of that quick maneuver, the Soviets left them primarily unpunished after the end of the war, although they still installed a puppet government to control the nation just in case. During the Cold War, Romania was doing great at being exceptionally poor and hungry. Out of all the communist nations, Romania was the third poorest, only outperforming Albania and North Korea. So the leadership did the only logical thing, which was to fly to North Korea and take economic advice from them. And just to prove how much of a clown show Romania was at the time, the wife of the dictator that barely finished high school was appointed as the head of Romania's science and research programs. Even though she was as dumb as a brick, she forced everyone to call her a scientist, and she even stole research papers from actual scientists and published them under her name. But by far and away, the weirdest thing she did was that during the construction of Bucharest's metro, she ordered the engineers not to build a station connecting the Bucharest University because students have become too fat and should get more exercise. So anyways, to the surprise of absolutely no one, when the Eastern Bloc started collapsing, protesters captured them and sentenced them to life in prison for like 5 minutes, because right after they took them outside of the building and executed them on live TV, truly the best form of revenge. After decades of economic deprivation, political instability, and a crazy unstable nuclear superpower with a short temper controlling their every move, the nation was finally free, and it was time for them to start growing their economy. So let's see how it goes for them. So, yeah, the entirety of the economy collapsed right after the fall of the Eastern Bloc, primarily because turning a centrally planned Soviet-style economy into a free market economy within less than a decade is ridiculously difficult. The decade that followed the fall of the Eastern Bloc is likely the darkest chapter in the nation's recent history. Wages went down, unemployment exploded, GDP contracted massively, a large share of the young and educated population left the nation for better opportunities abroad, hunger was widespread, and inflation exploded so much it made Argentina feel a little jealous. But luckily for the people of the nation, this didn't last too long, and right after the economy started exploding, during this period, the nation's tourism industry exploded. It became a manufacturing center for the whole of Europe. It created a multitude of highly successful companies, and corruption was drastically decreased. Actually, that last one was a lie. But regardless, how did they achieve this level of economic growth, and is it sustainable? While obviously the overwhelming majority of credit for Romania's growth goes to the hard-working Romanian people, we can't pretend that Europe didn't play a massive role in the nation's success in 3 primary ways. The first one is the simplest one. The EU has a budget, and every year it allocates some money for Romania. The way it works is simple. The EU collects money from its member states, they send it to the Romanian government, then corrupt politicians take a small cut of the money for their hard work, which usually accounts for 90 to 95% of all the money, and whatever remains goes to fund very important things like healthcare and schools. But also, Romania is a major trading partner in the European Union. Last year, it exported roughly 100 billion worth of goods and imported nearly 130 billion, which doesn't just help the Romanians, but also massively benefits the rest of the European continent, because roughly 74% of their exports and 75% of their imports come exclusively from European Union member states. And the last one is the freedom the European Union provides to Romanians and Romanian companies. The nation recently joined the Schengen area, allowing free travel of people without border checks, meaning the Romanians are free to live and work in any nation in the EU and vice versa, which has made tourism a lot easier. Also, moving products across borders is becoming less complicated, which is bound to keep helping the Romanian economy for decades. But enough with the happy stuff. Romania is in no way a perfect little paradise, and in fact the nation is still facing a wide variety of problems. Firstly, Romania is more like 3 nations packed into one. The first is Bucharest, the capital, where the standards of living are really high and comparable to some Western European nations like Spain and Italy. Secondly are the western regions of the nation. The standards of living drop significantly in comparison to Bucharest, but because the region is closer in proximity to Western Europe, Europe than the rest of the nation. It managed to be relatively rich, and life there is comparable to nations like Kazakhstan and Turkey. And lastly is the rest of the nation, which effectively is a dumpster fire, and life there is comparable to an impoverished 13th century peasant in rural China. But let's be honest, Romania's largest issue is corruption. Whether it is cops turning the other way for a small bribe, or a politician selling out the entire nation for a little bit of money, we have to acknowledge corruption is widespread in the nation, and drastic measures need to be taken to deal with it. Ever since a random guy in China decided that eating a bat for dinner was a good idea, and especially after the energy crisis caused by the war happening on the nation's borders, the people of Romania have been struggling with an insane cost of living crisis. Wages are low, inflation is out of this world, and the average Romanian is once again struggling to put food on his table. Because of that, the nation is facing an immense brain drain. When taking a 3-hour flight means your salary instantly triples, you would have to be insane not to take it. And because of that, Romanian businesses struggle to find workers, and the nation is forced to look overseas. Thousands upon thousands of foreign workers from nations like Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Turkey are coming into Romania to solve the workforce shortages. But unfortunately, because of a pathetically low fertility rate, a shrinking population, low wages, and the fact most immigrants see Romania just as a stepping stone to get into Western Europe, it's incredibly unlikely that the nation will be able to solve its worker shortage. So where is Romania heading in the future, and what can the nation do to improve it? Firstly, we have to acknowledge the incredible progress of the past few decades, but also the challenges of today. For example, EU over-reliance and political instability might end up bringing down the entire nation in the future. In the most recent elections, a TikToker came out of nowhere and won the whole election, which made the EU step in to cancel the results, which just shows how corrupt and incompetent the Romanian political scene happens to be. Also, the nation is extremely over-reliant on the EU. When the Union is doing good, Romania is doing great, but when Europe is doing bad, Romania is doing catastrophically. If you want to learn more about the challenges the European Union has been facing in recent decades, click here. Anyways guys, have a great rest of your day and drop a like on the video.